Hello, this is Andrea Hendricks, your host of Ignite, a new podcast series launched by Authentico. Authentico is a full-service multicultural marketing and diversity, equity, and inclusion agency. Authentico creates meaningful connections to help brands broaden their horizons and reach their business goals. We partner with our clients to reach diverse audiences, creating work that resonates and gets results. And we help organizations develop successful multicultural workforce strategies and inclusive learning initiatives. Authentico is a joint venture of Kansas City-based agencies Waltz Teacher Advertising and Tico Productions. It grew out of the shared values and goals of CEOs Shirley Davis and CC Rojas. Our goal and our promise is to deliver success to brands by tapping into the vibrancy of multicultural markets and to broaden and advance DE&I initiatives. Ignite podcast series is about creating meaningful dialogue to innovate and culturally inspire. If you look up the word Ignite, it shares, focusing your energy and attention to creating and attracting positive outcomes for your life or your business. So today we are honored to launch episode 2. This episode will focus on perspectives from the top. What can organizations do to enable progressive strategies around diversity, equity, and inclusion? To keep up to date on what's happening and coming up with Authentico, be sure to follow us on our social media channels, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Joining me for episode 2 is Dr. Shirley Davis. She is the president and CEO of SDS Global Enterprises. SDS Global Enterprises is a woman and minority-owned C corporation that provides strategic development solutions that enables organizational leaders to build high-performing and inclusive cultures. And it also focuses on helping them thrive in a competitive and ever-changing environment. I am so honored to have her here. She is the former global head of diversity, inclusion, and workplace strategies for the Society of Human Resource Management. SHRM, for most of the audience members, you know it by SHRM. Dr. Davis has been featured expert on many national broadcast programs and networks. Dr. Davis brings a unique background as a seasoned HR and diversity and inclusion global thought leader, a senior executive, a certified leadership coach, and a former chief diversity and inclusion officer for several major Fortune 100 companies. And she is also an accomplished author. I could be here all day on this podcast sharing the wonderful contributions Dr. Davis has made in this space. But let's get started. Dr. Davis, welcome to Ignite.
Hello. I am so honored and thrilled to be with you. Thank you so much, Dr. Hendricks, for the invitation and for all the phenomenal work that you're doing with Authentico.
Thank you. So how are you today? We're going to have a great conversation on progressive strategies around diversity, equity, and inclusion. You doing great today?
I am. I bring you greetings from Tampa Bay, where it is nearly 78 degrees already. So
wonderful. We'll spread some of that love around the country. Right. We need that. So let's get started. As you know, the workforce, workplace, and marketplace and community are ever changing, and they are changing in the ways that we focus on management and leadership approaches. So can you share with the audience, let's just kind of maybe scratch the surface and go deeper in just a moment, but can you share with the audience what diversity and inclusion mean to you as a thought leader, and why do you think it's still essential for organizations and communities to focus on it? So I'm going to let you kind of share your thoughts.
Sure. For me, it's personal, but it's also my life's work. It's my career purpose. I believe that diversity, equity, and inclusion is about all of us. It's not just limited to race and gender or to one particular identity. It really is about our humanity. It's about the fact that we're all unique and different, and we bring various traits and characteristics and attributes and things that are part of who we are, part of our own identity. But I also see it as a business strategy. I focus on it as a leadership competency. And I think we all have to think about it as business leaders as a part of our global focus, because we are working in a global society. For me, when I talk about diversity specifically, diversity just is. It's about all of us. It's about you. It's about me. It's about men, women. It's about different age groups, different cultures, backgrounds, ethnicities, as well as educational backgrounds and experiences. I mean, we can go on: personality, communication style, age groups, everything. And so I want us to understand that when we think about diversity, that's nothing we can necessarily change. It's something we value, embrace, and appreciate. When we talk about inclusion, inclusion is a strategy. Inclusion is the work environment, the workplace culture where all of us have to work in with our unique differences and diversity. And the question is how inclusive are organizational cultures? Do they allow us to truly thrive, to bring our unique perspectives and ideas and ways of working and thinking and believing and loving and liking and ways of all of the things that we do, ways of being who we are? Or do we have the opportunities to truly do that in a way that the company can thrive and leverage our uniqueness?
That is amazing. You know what? There were two things that resonated well with me on what it means to you, because oftentimes as we go through this journey of this work, people are trying to measure the effectiveness of what great diversity, equity, and inclusion looks like. And you shared a couple of those in your conversation about connected to the vision and strategy. Maybe continue to share, you think about the benchmark or the maturity model and the growth from adopting to complying to transformational. As you work in this space, what do you think great DE&I looks like? Because you mentioned what it means to you, but to others who are trying to practice this, how do they know it's great and that it's connected and seamlessly embedded?
That's right. It's really an experience, right? I always say to have an inclusive, high-performing workplace culture and a wonderful employee experience. A lot of times I say it's like the wind. You can feel it, but you don't necessarily touch it. You just know it's an experience. And so for me, when I think about what it looks like and what great companies do to really do this in a really effective way, inclusive and high-performing cultures really are ones that have these kinds of things in common. It's like high trust and high standards, high performance, high commitment. You have high inclusion and integrity, as well as people want to stay, people want to work. You get top talent that really cares about the work that you do, but the kind of company you are and the kind of leaders and teams that they'll get to work with as well. And not only that, but then you get high engagement and you get to build out the kinds of solutions and innovative strategies. And you get to really be creative in a way that you wouldn't if you didn't have inclusive cultures and didn't value and embrace diversity. So that to me is where I start to see it happen.
Yeah, so I read, I've been following you for years and studying the great work that you do. And as an author, thought leader, presenter, in some of your work, you've shared, diversity, equity, inclusion, leadership couldn't be more important today. That's right. As organizations are grappling with attracting, developing, and retaining top talent. They're trying to drive innovative and creativity. You talked a little bit about that. Build a positive brand and reputation, and the ultimate goal being employer of choice. So when we talk about what progressive strategies should organizations focus on first, should they focus on workforce, workplace, community, or marketplace first, and why? Why did you choose that one? So I know I'm forcing you, all of them matter, but if you said, you're talking to a leader that says, I got to drive innovation, I've got to be more creative, I got to have the right mindset, skill set, and competencies, where do I start first? What would you say to that leader if you could only pick one, and why?
Yeah, I know that's really tough and hard, but you're right. All of those are important, but I would encourage them to focus on what they have right now in front of them. You spent the money, time, effort, and energy to go and get great talent, then focus on what you already have. That would be the workplace itself, right? And in creating the kind of experience where employees feel valued and you can develop them and grow them, give them the training and the experience and the support, the tools, the resources that they need. It's also about then looking for the leaders who can step into those roles as vacancies come, but also who you can develop and build the kind of skills for where you're trying to take the company. So that's really key and critical. If you focus on the internal workforce and the talent there, the workplace itself, then they could also help you build the kind of brand that you need. They can help you service the marketplace, your customers and your clients, and they can also help to then build your employer brand in a very positive way. So I always say start with what you have first, and that is right there internally in the workplace itself. Make it a place where nobody wants to leave. They want to do their best work, bring their best thinking, and they also want to tell others how great your organization is.
Yeah, so I love that workplace culture part. We talk about what can organizations do to enable this to happen. And so first is, get your house in order. Your
that's right.
Workplace is so critical to do that. When we talk about enablement, and you have a lot of resources that you're connected with in your work, enabling leaders to really do this. So once they've selected workplace as where they're going to start, there's some benchmarks, maturity models for success, global benchmarks, maturity models for success. What do you think are other, and you can even expound upon the two that I've mentioned, for progressive strategies? Those are enabling them to then set the right stage to elevate, to get to the expert and advanced stages of this work.
Yeah, I absolutely believe that we have to, as I said, not only start internally, build bench strength, right? Make sure that you are enhancing your pipeline with talent that has all different types of experiences and backgrounds and skill sets and mindsets. All of those are important. And so be careful not to overlook your hidden figures in the organization. Training, development, and education is going to be key and critical. But I've also seen where companies really thrive when they integrate and inculcate, DE&I into their values, into their strategy, into everything that drives the organization. So it should show up in performance expectations and your key performance indicators. And certainly it should show up in all of your processes and all of your procedures and practices. It should be celebrated, recognized, and rewarded. And also when it's not being lived every day, it also should have a level of accountability. There should be some consequences when leaders aren't living and walking the values of inclusivity. And so those are some key and critical ones for me. And I think the other piece of it too is as you are even bringing in new talent, another, forward-thinking strategy is to make sure that you have the right kind of questions that you're asking, the right kind of criteria in place that helps you bring in more people who value and who will celebrate the diversity of thought and perspectives and backgrounds as well, too.
Yeah, so what I'm hearing is, and those of you in the audience hopefully are taking great notes because I am, is seamlessly embedding in order to enable this into action in workplace cultures to make sure you're seamlessly embedding this into everything you do. And then your lift will come from the talent and from the community and others as you do that so they can help you enable progressive strategies and if you seamlessly embed that. So I like that. There's a research point I'll share. HR Research Institute shares that companies are struggling to mature their DE&I initiatives. And I think this one was 2022 when this report came out. Only 22% indicated that they were at the expert and advanced stages. They're still struggling with how to become progressive and how to do that right. So those of you who are listening today, you can take some notes on impactful ways to do that. So a couple more questions before we end our conversation today. Anything underway that you want to share that you're doing to enhance the understanding of knowledge with your team around the country? You want to share that? And then how do you advocate for inclusivity? To me, having an inclusive culture and also a belonging culture gets us to the equitable efforts we want. So maybe share some impactful work that you're doing in this space, and then how do you advocate for inclusivity?
Yeah, I'm really proud of some of the clients that we work with who have been on this journey actually for a while, but they realize that this is an ongoing journey and you don't get off of it because you've now checked the box and had, a great recruiting year or more women and more people of color. No, it's not just that. We've got to look at this as a ongoing, forever strategy that we have to have. And how do we continue to sustain a wonderful culture to work for, a wonderful culture where we, are doing business, we're impacting our communities, and our customers and our clients want to continue their work with us as well. And so I'm thrilled that in some of the work that we're doing with them is that we're going beyond just only a training program and only helping them build their recruitment strategy. Yes, we do audits and we do organizational assessments and we do focus groups, and we talk a lot about, how to build a long-term DE&I strategy. But one of the things we do is go beyond that. What we've been doing, I love, is helping leaders to really get into a more immersive experience. So we've been doing what we call the Cultural Competency Learning Program, and it's a path that goes over a year long, very, very similar to what we're about to do. I'm loving our opportunity, and I know you'll talk about that a little later, but we are actually partnering leaders 2x2s, and they are as diverse as they are, got the different experiences, backgrounds, different ways of seeing the world. They've been socialized differently. And yes, visibly, they are very diverse. And throughout the year, they have once a month meetings where they talk about a particular topic that we actually send to them as an assignment. They do the pre-work, and then they get together and they talk about it. We break them up even by their level of cultural competence, and maybe somebody who's in denial of differences and someone who's very advanced and adaptive to differences. Putting them together really has been one of the richest, most rewarding experiences that we've seen. That is really
amazing.
It's game changing.
That is amazing. Wow. I want to learn more about that. And yes, you're absolutely right. We are embarking on a great journey as partners in a new DE&I certificate program in the greater Kansas City area. I'm super excited about that. Those of you in the audience, if you want to learn more, go to our Authentico website and send us a message, and we will have a second cohort coming up in 2025, but our 2024 cohort is set and ready to experience some of these progressive strategies and learning experiences that we've talked about today. So I know we're at very close to close, and
I could get on advocating too.
I know.
So much to talk about.
Sit with you all day long, but today, as we close, I would love for you to share with the audience one favorite best practice resource. You can pick whichever one you want and share that, and then I will come back and give final thoughts. But what's one of your favorite best practice resources?
So this is an old school one too, but there is a desk reference for DE&I that I've actually used for years, and I still think it's relevant, but I'm going to be really partial because I had the pleasure of writing the first ever DE&I for Dummies book that came out in 2022. And guess what? May the 7th, the newest one, Inclusive Leadership. is coming to Amazon as well. And so those are some of the ones I've taken all of my 20 plus years of great expertise and experiences and lessons learned and pinned it all into those books. So those are going to be great resources that then encapsulate all the others that I've read.
Well, thank you so much for that, and we look forward to leveraging some of those resources as well. Thank you, Shirley, for your insightful perspective. I know everyone listening gained additional insights and best practice approaches to this very topic. As we leave episode 2, I want to take the moment to thank you for listening and encourage you again to continue to climb in this space. Power forward. We hope you enjoyed this new episode, and we look forward to having you engaged in future programs. See you next time. Go out and ignite your strategies.